Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Hi, my name is Bob Bailo. I'm just going to show you how hard this surface is and how scratch resistant it is for a pan. If you're like cutting a steak on here, there's very little resistance to the pan, and it forms a very hard surface that you just don't indent on. It doesn't scratch up, and if you should get a mark in there, it's also self-healing. As you cook in it, the oil rebonds into the material, so it's a good product.
I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Today my guest is Bob Bailo, a Racine inventor and owner of Accu-Temp heat treating, which is where we're doing the show today. That's your main business, but we're going to talk about two of your inventions. One of them just briefly, before we get to the latest. But you're the inventor of the original pasta fork. You want to show just very briefly how that works?
This, when you eat spaghetti, you have to wind it up. This kind of makes it pretty easy. It just winds it up for you.
Yeah.
Spin it.
And we're doing the show in mid-March 2014. I did check today. Your official video on YouTube has about 1.1 million views.
Yeah.
How many of these have you sold?
Close to 500,000 since we started with this.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Good for you. Well, your latest invention is also part of the kitchen, the basic kitchen hardware, and that is a special kind of cast iron pan. Bob, before we get to the actual invention, you told me that cast iron griddles are kind of making a comeback in cooking. Is that right?
It is. With the health issue with the Teflon and that coatings, and it's just been a resurgence of cast iron cookware coming back into the market.
That's one of the main reasons, then?
You bet. It's a big one.
The awareness of Teflon?
Yes. Yep.
Uh-huh.
People want to get away from the coated cookware, and that's a return to pretty natural cooking surface.
You also mentioned that there are some food shows that are kind of bringing this back too.
There is a well, I'm not sure what
did you? Is that not true, or
the food?
Yeah, didn't you
food
say
networks,
that there? Yeah,
yes.
didn't you say that there is?
The food networks typically have been promoting this also, the cast iron cookware, and it's been quite a nice product.
Well, the thing about this is normally it rusts, but you actually with your partner found a way around that. So let's talk about it. The process you have, and it's a patented process which you call Ferroxy, and you've built a company around that. These have not quite hit the market, but you've told me this is coming very soon. So tell me about that. The original incident that got you thinking about Teflon and getting away from Teflon.
Right. I went over to a friend's house, and we were going to do a Chinese dinner stir fry, and so she had a pan Teflon coated, a wok, and looked at it and saw all these score marks and a lot of Teflon gone, and said, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's use a different pan. So we did, and then I took her pan and took it to the shop, blasted it up, blew it up with a gun bluing kind of a heat treat operation. Tried it, kind of worked, and the light bulb went off. I said, now there's a thing I can do with this. So that started the whole process of doing a specialized kind of a heat treat to develop a cooking surface that seasons up extremely well. And it becomes very wear resistant, hard, and is naturally rust resistant. So
Well, let's talk about those steps to that. You said when the light bulb came on for you, the first thing you decided was to do a thing called nitriding. Just
Yes.
very briefly, what is that?
okay, that's a process. It's a heat treating procedure, and simply you add nitrogen to the surface of the steel, and
It actually bonds to the iron.
Yes, it's a very efficient, low temperature, about 1,000-degree process, and it actually goes into the material. It doesn't sit on top. It actually diffuses in, so doesn't make a coating, and it actually changes the surface texture so that oil can be absorbed into the surface. There's actually millions of little capillary channels put into the surface, and that acts as a base for the oil to be bonded into the steel.
Well, let's mention the partner who helped you with this.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Don White, he was a chemist and worked for Johnson's Wax many years, and passed away about 3 years ago.
So it was your the brain power of both of you guys that came up with this whole process.
You bet. He's a very persistent individual. He kept me on target. So, yeah.
So it's both the addition of the nitrogen and the formation of these little capillaries. And what do those do? The little tiny openings?
Okay, as the process goes into the material, as it bonds to the steel, the nitrogen bonds into it, it forms a rust-resistant compound called iron nitride, and simply it doesn't want to rust anymore. The surface becomes extremely hard, and these little channels act as a wick to draw the cooking oil or the seasoning oil down into the pan. So it doesn't just lay on the surface. It's actually in the pan itself.
You mentioned, so how rust-proof is it really? You can wash this in soap and water?
You can, yes. And some of it can actually run through the dishwasher. I don't recommend it, but because the dishwasher is so aggressive, it will try to peel off the seasoning layer. And but it still avoids a lot of rust, that kind of a situation, so it's very rust resistant. But if you want a good pan,
and you mentioned
yes,
hard too, right?
It's
so I
hard.
can just whack,
That's
whack
it.
this?
Yes.
It doesn't hurt it.
It didn't fall apart. I'm okay.
So you guys, and by the way, your partner has since passed away.
Yeah.
But you guys have patented this and formed a company. So how far along are you with this, the whole process of bringing this to market?
Okay. It was an interesting, it's been a long, drawn-out affair trying to develop this. The initial investment, we went out to see about having a furnace made. $3.5 to $4 million to make a furnace.
Because it's a special furnace, right?
Yes, and so and it's our customers, potential customers that signed on as wanted the licensing agreement. They balked. So finally said, we're going to build one. You can buy it, lease it, rent it, whatever, and I get this thing going. They said, go, do it. So we went ahead. In the meantime, they did a lot of market research, a lot of testing.
Stay with
Yes.
the furnace for a second.
Okay.
So how big are these furnaces?
The furnace, it started out about 30 feet long. It now is probably almost 3 times that in overall length. There's actually 3 furnaces hooked together, cooling chambers, vacuum chamber. It's quite an ordeal.
Now that's right here at your own business, so that's where these will be manufactured.
Yes, yeah.
And then you built a second furnace. Why a second one?
Okay, never like just one. You know, if you lose that one, you're down.
Oh,
you're done.
it's just a backup, huh?
Yes, yep. And we have work for that one also. So this will work out nice.
Yeah. What kind of marketing now the 2 companies you're working with are Lodge Cast Iron
Yes.
and Colombian Home Products.
Yes.
Did I get that right? What sort of market research did they do?
There was a lot of testing. They went to the big thing is, with food, is having a lab that'll do the testing for safety of the product and all that. And then the additional thing was just design of the cookware, and like in particular for Colombian. So it's been a extensive testing program. And then they handed out pans to a lot of people.
Test pans?
Yes, and most of the people tried to keep their pan and never returned it.
That's a good
So-
good sign. You've got the cast iron on. I assume these will be made in different sizes, right?
Yes.
This is kind of a
Yeah.
small to medium size. What's this over here?
This one is a steel pan, and they're kind of compete for each other. The cast iron is heavy, the steel will be lighter, and so the great thing about this steel pan now is, again, corrosion resistance, the same as the cast iron cookware.
I remember back when I was a kid,
Yep.
and I never liked these because the handles got so hot.
Yes.
So have they done anything about that?
They now have insulated sleeves you can slide on there for handling.
Yours will be sold that way?
Probably, yes. I haven't been involved too much in the design of the product. That's been coming right from our licensees. So I get involved in trying to make sure I do my part of the job here,
Yeah.
the treatment.
And so you expect these to come to market in spring of 2014, this spring.
You bet.
Where will people be able to find these?
I think it looks like they're going to be available in major chain stores. You'll
yeah.
find them like Kohl's, Walmart.
Oh.
Yeah.
These will be, I imagine, a pretty high-end product, right?
This it will be a little bit higher end than the typical cast iron cookware. The steel definitely is being, I think, the initial product would be marketed as a commercial high-end chef's type of cookware.
The chefs would prefer the steel?
We'll see.
Oh,
We're not sure just yet, but that's that's one of the areas they're going after.
does the steel spread the heat as well as the cast iron? Isn't that one of the benefits of cast iron?
It is. The cast iron tends to be very uniform in temperature. You bet. And a big part of that is the weight. Helps to carry that heat across the pan. So the steel will be probably beefed up a little bit weight wise, but and that way for good uniformity of temperature also.
You mentioned, by the way, a $3 to $4 million furnace. I assume you didn't spend that much to build your furnace because you were building it yourself. But
Yeah.
what was your investment, and then what kind of return on investment are you projecting for this?
We originally had forecasted about $250,000 for the furnace to build it, and it would be a combination of some used equipment and new equipment that we put together. We have exceeded $400,000 at this point, so it's
Per furnace, right?
for the furnace line itself. We still were able to.
But I mean for each or
No,
total?
Total.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So we've been kind of happy about that. We didn't get much over that, but it's and it's not capable of doing all of the production work that it appears to be potentially coming our way.
Oh.
So this furnace will run about 25,000 pounds or approximately.
How many units?
I would say probably 6,000 pans a day,
Okay.
and you wonder where all those go.
Yeah, and you're probably only going to buy one of these, at least of a particular size, in your lifetime.
That's the advantage. Real advantage is that they will last for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what sort of sales projections have you made? When do you think you're going to recoup your investment? When are you going to be able to retire on this?
Wait, I don't think I'm ever going to retire, but a recoup of investment should be within about a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
So,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck. Bob Bailo, Racine inventor, you've got a couple of cool things, the pasta fork, and now
you.
really some pretty amazing. And we're going to do a demonstration. We'll let you prove how hard this pan is
Okay,
before we're
this is-
finished today. So, but Bob Bailo, thanks a lot for being on Money Talks, and
Thank you.
thanks to our producer Scott Anderson. Thanks for
Thank
watching.
you.